In the Wonder Woman TV show pilot, there was a contest to decide which of the Amazons would earn the right to become Wonder Woman. Diana was not given permission by her mother, the Queen, to enter the competition. She had to wear a blonde wig to compete. She also wore the number 33 in Roman numerals. Her main rival and the other finalist wore the number 8. We know that after the first rounds, the contest was drawn, and the outcome had to be decided by the bullets and bracelets, which Diana eventually won. You never actually see the scoreboard in all its entirety. During the montage, you see sequences that flash back to the scoreboard and show small sections. So the question is it possible to see the overall score, the overall outcome of the first rounds of the contest? Well, the first thing to do is work out what the different events were. And it is possible, by piecing together the montage, to work out exactly what the events are and what order they are on the scoreboard. So here are the events in the contest. Starting from the bottom right hand corner and working my way up, we have the weightlifting, the arm wrestling, the 100-yard dash, the water jousting, the high jump. Then we have the archery, the long jump, the javelin, and the stone throw. Now that we have all the events on the scoreboard, is it possible to work out which Amazons won which of the events? Well, again, we don't actually see a completely populated scoreboard in any detail, but through the montage we do see the place cards representing individual Amazons, including Diana, being placed onto the events. And it is possible to actually populate part of the actual board by piecing together the montage. So what we notice, for example, is we actually see 4 different Amazons on the actual scorecard or scoreboard. We notice that Diana, again number 33, is featured. We see number 8, obviously, she was the main rival. We see number 10, and we also see an Amazon number 12. So let's go through and let's piece together what we can from the actual individual events. So on the weightlifting, we see that Diana's name is there, or number is there. On the arm wrestling, we see that we have number 8. On the 100-yard dash, interestingly, Diana is not present on the 100-yard dash. She did not win the running race. We have number 10 and we have number 8. On the water jousting, again, we have the 2 main rivals, number 8 and number 33, Diana. In the high jump, we only see number 10. In the archery, again, the main 2 rivals, number 33, Diana, and number 8. In the long jump, we have number 12 this time, and we also have number 8 again. Now the javelin is the only one we don't see populated. We have no Amazon identified in the javelin. And then finally, in the stone throw, again, we have just Diana in there. So although these are the only parts of the scoreboard we can actually see populated for certain, we know at the very, very end of the contest, prior to the bullets and bracelets, we see a completed board in the distance, and we can tell that each of the events was populated by 2 Amazons. We know from the final scoreboard that there should be 2 Amazons on each of the events. And obviously we have some spaces to fill. The question is, can we fill those spaces? Can we work out from the montage which other Amazons should be featured on the events? Well, possibly we can. We see, for example, in the weightlifting that it's Diana and number 8 side by side, and they look like they're the finalists. And again, the same in the arm wrestling. It's Diana and number 8 who are arm wrestling. So I'm going to add Diana onto the arm wrestling in red, and also number 8 on the weightlifting in red, to distinguish from the contestants we know for certain were on the scorecard. So we can see on our scoreboard at the present time that Diana features 5 times: stone throw, archery, water joust, arm wrestling, and weightlifting. For our main rival, number 8, she features 6 times: weightlifting, arm wrestling, 100-yard dash, water joust, archery, and long jump. So we know from the scoreboard at the present time that number 8 is actually ahead. The question is, can we deduce anything more from the board itself? Well, one of the problems is, in each of the events we have 2 Amazons identified by number, but we don't know which one of them won that event. Is it possible to actually look at the board and work out who won the event and who was the runner-up? So although it appears that number 8 is ahead, maybe she isn't winning these events. Maybe on some of them she's coming second. Perhaps Diana is winning more events and coming second in fewer. Well, does the orientation on the board make any difference? So what I did, and of course this is just theoretical, I looked at the arm wrestling again, and I looked at the weightlifting. Are there any clues as to who's winning these events? Well, if you look at the weightlifting, it appears that number 8 is her stone is a good degree heavier than what Diana is lifting. Does this mean that she's the stronger of the two in terms of the weight lift? And if you look at the arm wrestling, initially it looks as if number 8 is winning, but then Diana pushes her arm across, looks at her, and seems very, very confident. She's smiling. So it looks like Diana is winning the arm wrestling, or is going to win the arm wrestling. Now, if we look at the orientation on the board of their names, it appears that on the weightlifting, number 8 is on the outside of the triangle. In other words, she's closer to the edge on the placement on the card. And the same on the arm wrestling, Diana is over to the edge on that one. And the inner indicator appears to be the person in second place. So is it possible that the number of the Amazon who's on the outside of the actual box as the triangle appears is actually the winner? If that was the case, then we can see that Diana at the present time has won the stone throw, has won the archery, has won the water joust, and has won the arm wrestling. She's won 4 of the events that we can see at the moment. Her rival, however, has won the 100-yard dash, and she's won the weightlifting, but she hasn't won any of the other events that we can see. She's actually come second place in the arm wrestling, second place in the water joust, second place in the archery, and second place in the long jump. At present, Diana has only featured in second place on one of the events, and that's the weightlifting. Now, going back to our board, can we populate any more of the boxes from what we know already? Well, let's look at Diana and number 8. What type of events are they winning? Well, it's quite clear that the weightlifting and the arm wrestling are strength events. Now let's look at the stone throw. Arguably that's a strength event. Now we see that Diana is actually listed on that event, and she's in what I believe is the winning position. It's logical, therefore, to suggest that number 8 was probably the runner-up in that event. So I'm going to add number 8 into the second place on the stone throw. Again, this is just theory, and I'll list her in red because we know that this is not certain. I could be mistaken, but again, I'm just following logic here, really. Now, the high jump at the top of the scoreboard creates a slight problem. At the moment, we only have one Amazon populating that event, and that's number 10. And we can't really say for certain whether she's the winner of the event or the runner-up. So what is the likelihood that Diana came runner-up or won the high jump? Well, let's look at the events that Diana has done best in, and they appear to be the strength events. Now, if we look at the 100-yard dash, a speed event, Diana doesn't finish in the first or second place. And it's the same for the long jump too. Diana is not featured as a finalist in the long jump. So it's highly unlikely, based on the types of events that Diana is winning, that she won the high jump or came second in the high jump. Now again, let's look at number 10. She is on the card in either first or second place in the high jump. She also came what I believe to be in second place in the 100-yard dash. She seems to be an agile Amazon, so it's not surprising that she's featured on the high jump card, as well as the 100-yard dash. But let's look at the other event that's a mixture of speed and agility, and that's the long jump. And on the long jump, we see that number 8, Diana's main rival, the winner of the 100-yard dash, has actually been beaten by Amazon number 12. Amazon number 12 has beaten Diana's closest rival in the long jump. So is it logical that she would be the most likely Amazon to have won the high jump? Bearing in mind, number 10 could not beat number 8 in the 100-yard dash, but number 8 was beaten by number 12 in the long jump. So I'm going to suggest that number 12 is the third most competitive, the third strongest, or the third best of the Amazons in this competition. And I'm going to use logic, and I'm going to suggest that she is the most likely Amazon, based on these events, to have won the high jump. So now we have all of the board populated, except for the javelin. So is it possible to work out who the most likely winner of the javelin would be? So what are the attributes of a javelin thrower? Now, I'm no expert here. I'm going to be the first to admit it. I can only base this on what I've seen in the Olympics, in athletics generally. I would argue that javelin has a lot to do with technique. Now feel free to correct me on this. As I say, I'm not an expert by any means in this event. But technique appears to be one of the main attributes of this sport. But also when you look at a javelin thrower, they appear to be a strong athlete. They don't seem to have the body type of a long jumper or a high jumper. So I'm going to suggest that the Amazon with the best technique could possibly have been Diana, because she won the archery, she's won the water joust. To do them events and to do well in them events, you need to have good balance, you need to have good strength, and you need to have good accuracy, and of course, as I said, technique. So I think that Diana will have done well in this event. I certainly think, based on what we've seen in these events, that she's more likely to have featured on the javelin scorecard than the other two rival Amazons, obviously apart from number 8. We'll come to her in a moment. So number 12, she's fast and she's agile, but does she have the power and the technique to match Diana in the javelin? I'm going to rule her out. Now number 10, again, she's agile. She didn't have the power to beat number 8 in the 100-yard dash. I would suggest she's probably quite a light athlete. She has a good balance between speed and agility. She did well in the high jump, but she didn't beat number 12. So I'm going to rule her out as a javelin thrower, as a competitive javelin thrower. So what do we know about number 8? Could she have beaten Diana in the javelin, or is Diana our champion javelin thrower? So number 8, she is, as we know, Diana's main rival in this contest. She actually draws with Diana at the end of the contest. The only way they can separate the two is with bullets and bracelets. So let's look again at the attributes of number 8. Okay, well, we know how strong she is. We know that in pure strength, the weightlifting, she's stronger than Diana. She lifted a huge stone. As we know, she's in the winning position on that event. So again, she's fast. She wins the 100-yard dash. And she not only that, in the events which require the agility and the accuracy, the water joust and the archery, number 8 comes in second place to Diana on both of those events. And not only that, in another event, which is a mixture of strength and technique, the stone throw, she also comes second to Diana. So number 8 has the attributes to be a good javelin thrower. I certainly think that she is stronger in the javelin than number 10. She's faster than number 10. She's stronger than number 10. She has better technique than number 10. So, yes, I think she beats number 10 all the way. Now, number 12 has beaten number 8 in one event, the long jump. But number 12 didn't come second even in the 100-yard dash. So number 8 is faster, she's stronger, she's got better technique than number 12. So I'm pretty certain that looking at these events, the two finalists in the javelin will have been number 8 and number 33, Princess Diana. So now what we need to do is work out, based on what we know about javelin, and again I admit I'm no expert here, who was the most likely winner of the javelin between Diana and number 8. And what can help us here to a degree is that we know the contest ended in a draw. So perhaps by working out the possible scoring system, we can determine the winner of the javelin and the runner-up. So before we look into the scoring system, let's look at the two athletes, these two Amazons again, and see where their strengths are. So let's look at Diana first. What events does she win? She wins the stone throw, she wins the archery, she wins the water joust, and she wins the arm wrestling. I would argue that all 4 of them events require skill and good technique. They're not pure strength events on their own. Arm wrestling is as much about technique as it is about strength. Stone throwing, again, there's an element of technique, like the javelin here. There's an element of technique in the stone throw. Archery, again, technique. And water jousting, definitely technique, good balance, good skills, good eye. Definitely Diana appears to have the better technique than number 8 in these events. But let's look at number 8. What are her strengths? Physical strength, we've mentioned that already. She's stronger overall than Diana. Her speed, again, she's faster, she wins the 100-yard dash. And again, another event where you need speed, you need that fast, powerful run-up is the long jump. Diana doesn't feature in either of these two finals. She's not on the scorecard for the 100-yard dash, and Diana is not on the score for the long jump either. So what we can say is that where the events require a great deal of technique and agility, Diana seems to have the slight advantage. However, her main rival seems to have the advantage overall in strength and speed. So when I think about the javelin thrower, they seem to have a quick, powerful run up. Good technique, yes, but also strength. So looking at the event and looking at the attributes of number 8 versus Diana, I think she may actually edge Diana in the javelin. I think that her run-up, her speed, and her strength are outmatch Diana's technique. So I'm going to suggest that number 8 is the winner of the javelin event over Princess Diana. And there is another clue to the possibility that this is actually what happened in that event, because the Amazon that we actually see in the montage throwing the javelin is number 8. In addition to this, in the events where Diana does use her technique and does have a victory, it's number 8 that's in the runner-up position. The stone throw, the arm wrestling, the water jousting, and the archery. But in the long jump, the 100-yard dash, Diana isn't in second place. She's not on those cards. There is certainly a margin of victory between number 8 and Diana on these events, which appears greater than the margin of victory that Diana has over number 8 in the events that she wins. So therefore, it appears that on balance, the victory in the javelin has to go to number 8. And there's really another reason for this as well. Diana has won 4 events. So far, number 8 has only won 2 events. She really needs another victory in an event to draw with Diana overall. And again, when we look at the decider in this contest, which was the bullets and the bracelets, this is the example we need to show that Diana won overall through technique, through her hand-eye coordination, through her skills, and not in strength events, which the bullets and bracelets is not a strength event. That is purely a skill, technique, agility event. So yeah, I am going to say that we're going to put Diana and number 8 into the javelin box, but we're going to give the victory in that event to number 8. And then I think I've managed to calculate the scoring system that brings this contest so far to a draw. So now that we've populated the entire scoreboard, let's just recap on the results. We have Diana winning 4 events. She wins the stone throw, the archery, the water joust, and the arm wrestling. And then she comes second in 2 events. Second in the javelin and second in the weightlifting. Now number 8, she has now won 3 events. She wins the javelin, she wins the weightlifting, and she wins the 100-yard dash. But importantly, she comes second in 5 events. So she comes second in the stone throw, the arm wrestling, she comes second in the long jump, she comes second in the water jousting, and the archery. This means that for the contest to end in a draw, where Diana has 4 victories and 2 second places, and number 8 has 3 victories and 5 second places, the scoring system has to be 3 points for a win and 1 point for a second. So when we calculate that, Diana has 4 wins, that gives her 12 points, and 2 seconds, which gives her another 2 points, which is 14 points. And number 8 has 3 wins, which is 9 points, and 5 seconds, which is 1 point each, that's 5 more points. So at the end of the contest, Diana and number 8 had both scored 14 points, which made the contest a draw, even though Diana had won more events than number 8. Another observation that can be made from the final scoreboard is what a truly formidable and well-rounded opponent number 8 was for Princess Diana. Number 8 featured in the final of 8 out of the 9 events, either as the winner or the runner-up. Diana featured in only 6 out of the 9 events, although she did win more events than number 8, as already identified. So this brings me to the conclusion of my analysis of the contest montage from the Wonder Woman TV show pilot. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I have tried to find a picture of the completed board from the original episode, but so far every image I've found that has the board in the background does not have the board in focus or show any detail. So I will keep hunting and I'll keep searching, and hopefully one day I'll be able to make a comparison between my analysis and the genuine article. Thank you for watching the video, and please feel free to leave comments below. Thank you.